Well, hello there, I'm Chris from TechSpert, and today we are checking out a proper premium Android tablet, the fresh new Xiaomi Pad 6S Pro 12.4. Bit of a mouthful. And this boasts a gorgeous 12.4-inch 144Hz 3K display, a massive battery support and ultra-fast 120-watt hypercharge, and it's powered by that beefy Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipset, so you can get gaming on the likes of Genshin, no worries. Of course, the Xiaomi Pad 6S Pro will also lighten your wallet to the tune of €699, so probably about the same in British quids. Is it actually worth that price? Well, let's whip it on out the box and I'm going to test it out for about a week before delivering my in-depth review. And for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! So let's see what shiny delights await within. Well, you've got yourself a Xiaomi Pad 6S Pro 12.4. Quick start guide, but as tech geniuses we won't need that. You've also got yourself an absolutely beefy 120-watt power adapter and a USB cable. Whoop. That's everything bunged in the box, but you do have the option of hoying even more cash at Xiaomi for various tablet accessories, including styluses, keyboard covers, the usual guff. But now let's merrily prance forward in time a full week so we can see how I've been getting on with this Xiaomi tablet. Hello, welcome to a week in the future. Things are still a bit crap, but at least we're not living in underground bunkers licking the moss off walls, so that's a bonus. And I've been getting on rather well with the Xiaomi Pad 6S Pro. And just prise it off of here. It's a proper big one at over 12 inches and it weighs almost 600 grams as well, so it's got a decent heft to it. Reasonably skinny though, with the exception of this one corner where you've got that big old camera bump. And this does mean the Pad 6S Pro does unfortunately rattle about a bit if you're using it on a desk or a table. And this Xiaomi tablet boasts an aluminium alloy unibody. And it's suitably tough, if not exactly the most thrilling of designs. Looks very much like another iPad, basically. This is your one and only colour option, graphite grey. At least here in Blighty, it's your only colour option. And frankly, why did they have to choose grey? I'm sick of grey. I live in the UK, grey is all I see all day long. That silvery surface can get a wee bit smudgy if you happen to be, for instance, eating a KFC bargain bucket while you're fiddling with it. But you know, run a snot rag over it and generally it's alright. And up front, that mighty display is protected by a bit of Gorilla Glass 5. Shame it wasn't Victus 2 given the price of this thing, but at least so far, touch wood, no scratches on there. Now, while quite a few modern tablets no longer come with a fingerprint sensor, you do get one built into the power button here on the Xiaomi Pad 6S Pro. Now, this is ridiculously tiny, but it still does the job nicely. And it's also backed up here on Xiaomi's tablet by a reliable bit of face unlock action. And slap it back into the keyboard dock, save me the effort of actually clutching it. Now on the software side, this tablet is of course running Xiaomi's fresh new HyperOS, which it's slapping on all of its various smartphones, smartwatches, etc. This is slapped there on top of the latest Android 14. Now, Xiaomi didn't specifically mention how many years of OS and security updates the Pad 6S Pro will be treated to, but I'd certainly hope for an absolute bare minimum of 3 years, given that this is a Pro tablet and not exactly cheap. And the general HyperOS layout, similar to what you'll find on the likes of the Pixel tablets. You've got your Google Discover feed, you've got your wee dock at the bottom here. You can slap whatever apps you want onto the left-hand side, and the right-hand side is your most recently used apps. And of course, as usual, you got the notification center dragged down from the left-hand side, whereas the right-hand side is the control center. Again, fully customizable, so you can swap around your toggles and all your other bits. And of course, you've got all of the usual HyperOS bonuses chucked there on top of Android. But I already spaffed out a full dedicated video on HyperOS, so definitely go give that a watch if you want to know more. And on the storage front, the Xiaomi Pad 6S Pro comes with a minimum 256 gigs of the stuff. You can upgrade to 512 gigs, double that up if you want. Now, one of the most hyped features of HyperOS is the interconnectivity, which is a word with far too many syllables for this early in the morning. So say you want to hook up your snazzy new Xiaomi 14 series smartphone to the Pad 6S Pro. Well, all you got to do, jump on into the settings, make sure Xiaomi Interconnectivity is switched on for both the phone and the tablet, and they're paired via Bluetooth. I think you've got to sign in with your Xiaomi account on both devices as well. And then when the two come together, you will spy a wee phone icon pop up on the left hand side of your dock here. Just give that a wee tap. And boom, there is your smartphone desktop right there on your tablet. So you don't even need to touch your smartphone. You can reply to messages and everything right here. And this would be more helpful though if you could actually resize this window or move it around the place as it is. All you can really do is give this a wee tap again and just kind of shunt it off to the side of the screen. And of course you can pluck it out again with a quick tap, but as it is, it just kind of sits there over the top of whatever you're doing. You can of course seamlessly share photos, files, etc. between the two devices, and apparently the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro will even work as a secondary screen if you spunk up for Xiaomi's new electric car. So yeah. Now this Xiaomi tablet also supports various accessories, including the Focus Pen Stylus. Slap this on top of the tablet and the two will pair up. You've got to get it in a very specific position though, otherwise it just will not do anything. It's a reasonably strong magnetic connection, so you can leave it on there, and when it's docked like so, the pen stylus will actually charge up as well. And as far as styluses go, seems pretty good, you know? Zero latency basically, so as soon as your pen touches that screen, you'll see instant results. I absolutely did not draw this, by the way. This is just like a sample image. I'm just giving him a nice bit of hair. What I have really enjoyed using this past week is Xiaomi's keyboard cover, which essentially turns the Tab 6s Pro into a dinky makeshift laptop. This folds up flat, and when you open it up, you've got a wee standy bit out the back there to prop the back end up. And then the tablet itself just slaps onto there like so, again with a magnetic connection. That board is well sized. You've got some decent proper physical feedback from each key strike, even though the actual travel is tiny. And somewhat marvellously, you do have some proper backlighting on here as well, so you don't have to rely on the dim glow of the screen when you're tapping away in the evenings. Oh, and just forget about this laughably tiny touchpad. It's not the best, and frankly, you might as well just poke and prod the display. Although, at least it does support the multi-gesture shenanigans. And of course, one of the joys of working on a big size device like a tablet is the fact you can get some multitasking on the go. Nice and here on the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro, just tap the three dots up at the top and then you can instantly shunt something off to the left or right. And then bring up a second app over here on the other side of the screen. It's pretty handy if you want to reply to an email while you're browsing the web or checking a document or whatever. As usual, you can resize those apps just by sliding this divider, though not every app reacts well to the whole split screen shenanigans. Sometimes this causes them to have a bit of a fit. And while you can quickly and easily swap the two sides around and stuff, you can't unfortunately split the screen so it's top and bottom, which would certainly make a lot more sense if you're trying to watch a movie or something while doing something else. As it is, you're much better off opening a video as a floated window, just sticking that wherever you want it. And speaking of floating windows, HyperOS offers up something which it calls workstation mode. Now this allows you to open up to 4 floating windows at once simply by tapping these icons down at the bottom. If you try to open up more than 4, you'll just end up replacing older ones. That 12.4-inch IPS display with its 3:2 aspect ratio is great for side-by-side multitasking, if not quite as excellent for watching movies. Do tend to get some serious letterboxing on the go. Still, your cinematic fare does look gloriously crisp thanks to the 3K resolution, 3048 by 2032 pixels. And I honestly struggled to tell that this wasn't OLED tech, because you've still got Dolby Vision as well as HDR10 streaming support, with respectable contrast and quite bold, vibrant color output. It's very impressive stuff, and on high brightness mode, this panel hits just under 1000 nits, so it's absolutely powerful enough to use outdoors even on quite a sunny day, or as most of my testing took place indoors thanks to the frankly dog British climate, it's easy to see what's going on even with bright studio spotlights beaming off of that reflective screen. It also dims right down for evening play with the usual eye comfort shenanigans, and as for the refresh rate, well, that scales all the way down to 30Hz and up to 144. Good news if you play any games that actually support that refresh rate. And you gotta love the audio output on this thing as well, because you've got 6 speakers in total supporting Dolby Atmos. You've got high-res audio support as well, and they are proper beefcakes as well. Let me just boost up the volume, show you what we're working with. Like, say you got arrested for drunkenly flashing the local netball team and then stealing their bus and ram raiding a crematorium because you mistook it for an office. You wouldn't even get 4 years in prison. Don't ask me how I know that. So you certainly will not struggle to hear what is actually going on if you're trying to kick back with a bit of Netflix, YouTube, whatever, in a noisy kitchen, in a living room with kids screaming and screeching and doing kid things. And sadly, there's no headphone jack here on the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro, which is a bit of a bum, but that seems to be more common for tablets these days. And thankfully, the Bluetooth 5.3 streaming smart's absolutely fine. Now, slapped here on the back end of the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro tablet, you've got yourself a 50 megapixel Samsung GN1 camera sensor, plus a basic depth sensor. And I have absolutely no idea why. I guess you could use it for scanning documents or whatever, but honestly, I just really do not see the point. Far more useful is that 32 megapixel front-facing OmniVision camera, which you can at least use to, Skype, Zoom, do some sort of video chat style shenanigans, or even vlog if you're into a bit of vlogging. As you can see, when this camera is in use, you do actually have a dinky little LED which flashes on to let you know the camera is in place, so that's quite handy. And this tablet has 4 built-in mics as well, which do a really good job of picking up your voice, even if you're not sat right in front of the screen. So again, at least you're not screaming and hollering every time you are doing a video chat. As for the performance here on the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro, well, I've had absolutely no complaints whatsoever this past week because you've got Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 stuffed in there and backed in this tablet by 8 gigs of RAM. And while it's over a year old now, the 8 Gen 2 is still a beefy morpho. Can absolutely handle multitasking with several apps at once and a good bit of gaming on the likes of Genshin Impact as well. Although if you are going to play the likes of Genshin on this tablet, I would say hook up a Bluetooth controller or something, because even though the screen perfectly responsive and easy to use, it's just a little bit awkward playing these fast-paced action games on such a bulky device. And of course, this tablet is a good choice for creators as well. You can happily edit your photos, tweak your home movies, all that good stuff. And when you are gaming on the likes of Genshin, you've got that dedicated HyperOS game mode as well, Game Turbo. And this allows you to just boost that performance if you absolutely need to. You can of course clear the memory and the cache and everything as well. You've got the do not disturb, you can record the action, and you've got the weird voice changer, which just the less said about that the better.
This, for instance, is apparently me as a wee girl.
Sound more like an old man who's accidentally swallowed a chipmunk. As for getting online, well, this tablet supports Wi-Fi 7, so if you've got one of the latest, nippiest routers, then job done. I've had absolutely no issues whatsoever streaming video, music, games, whatever over the past week or so. And the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro does have what appears to be space that could be used for a SIM slot / memory card. But certainly on the Xiaomi UK website, there's no option to add 5G support or anything like that. As for the battery tech, well, that's another one of the strengths of the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro, because you've got a 10,000 mAh capacity cell stuffed inside of that admittedly quite large frame. And as a result, that battery life has been absolutely sublime. The best out of any tab I've tested in recent times. Up to 15 hours of streaming video non-stop on a single charge. And even if you're multitasking with apps all day long, you'll get at least a dozen hours of play out of this thing again before it needs to be plugged in. And when you do bung a cable in the thing, you won't have to have it in there for long because you've got 120 watt fast charging support on the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro. So seriously, less than half an hour will give you a full day of use out of this thing, no worries. And there you have it, my lovelies. That's my full final frank review of the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro after I've been using it as my full-time tablet for a week now. Gotta say, really like it. As you'd expect from a premium device like this, it ticks all of the boxes. Beefy performance, great battery life, and of course you've got the accessories like the keyboard dock, which really help you get extra use out of it. But of course, if you don't own a Xiaomi smartphone to get, the interconnectivity shenanigans on the go, I would say maybe look at a slightly cheaper device, because especially if you just want something to, watch some Netflix while you're cooking up an omelette in the kitchen or whatever, the display isn't the best suited to cinematic fare. It's definitely better set up for the likes of multitasking. That's what I reckon anyway. It'd be great to hear your thoughts on the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro down in the comments below. Please do plug subscribe and ding that notifications bell for more on the latest and greatest tech, and have yourselves a really wonderful rest of the week. Cheers everyone, love you.